Hey YouTube, yay for decks that are like no one cares about, because it's really easy to build, really easy to obtain these cards because no one cares about them. They're pretty much dirt cheap. So I'm back with the deck profile. Today I'm going to be doing the new Yasuie deck from Murakumo. So my previous one that I watched was the Yakivo updated deck. So if you're interested in that one, you can check the previous video to see that one. But this one is probably going to be the more interesting one. This is probably the more mainstream one because, first of all, these are newer cards. Yakivo, those cards are kind of old. So they're probably, what, like, coming up on 3 years old now? Just about. Almost. So, yeah, it's been a while. But Yasuie is relatively new. He's the new GB focus. He also has the keyword. The new one, at least, does not have the GB, but it has the Shadow Stitch keyword. Bushiroad really, a note on the keyword, Bushiroad really messed up the keyword. Just after image, went to Nubaton, when after image just fits right in with Murakumo. It's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know why they did it that way. Shadow Stitch, I was like, whatever. Anyway, for Stealth Rogue of the Trial, Yasuie. So this is the new Yasuie. The one with the keyword. I don't know. I think he's okay. The other one, the original one is also really good. So I'm actually running both. So I'm running the original one and the new one. That way I always have a Yasuie Vanguard. Both are quite interesting. Nowadays with the new Agoma Stride, this almost always has GB2 early for the most part. And then this thing, if you stride, basically the difference is they both have on-stride skills. The first one, if you don't remember what he does, is basically when you stride, you counterblast one, choose one of your rear guards on the field, and you can clone up to 2 copies of it, and then at the end of the turn, those 2 cloned copies go to the bottom of the deck. So essentially you call 2 things for free on advance. It's kind of like calling on credit, which is kind of weird, but it's not as good as the Paladins because the cards don't stay out of the deck, but the nice thing is they do go to the bottom of the deck, so that doesn't really affect your like damage checking triggers and stuff on the opponent's turn. And then the new one, what he does is when you stride, you counterblast 1, choose one of your units. So it means, whereas this guy chose a rear guard, this guy chooses a unit, so he can actually choose himself. And you clone 1 card, not 2. So that's how they kind of balance it out. So he can clone himself. And then it also gets the Shadow Stitch ability, which it says at the end of the battle that attacked the Vanguard, if the attack did not hit, bounce that unit to your hand. So I do like that one. I feel like that one's a little bit more useful because it always can clone something. So this one's not as reliant on having to go into like Oni Bibu or something compared to the other one. But they're both really good. They're both definitely, I feel like Yasuie is probably the most fun Murakumo deck to play right now. I think it's true for like most of the, I guess, under-supported clans that have the keyword. Kind of like how Fenrir is more interesting to play than Regalia in the Genesis clan. Next we have for Stealth Rogue of Envy, EQ. EQ is actually a pretty nice card, support card for Yasuie. So because of him, I definitely wanted to run all Yasuie. When he's placed on R, he gets 2k for each of your units with Yasuie in the name. And also, so that basically works really well with the new Stride that has Yasuie in the name. And he also has the Shadow Stitch ability at the end of the battle that he attacked the Vanguard. If the attack does not hit, choose one of your units. It gets 2,000 and it can attack from the back row. So he's really nice because his GB1 skill allows you to transfer the attack from the back skill from him to his other card. Like, he doesn't have the attack from the back, but he allows something to attack from the back without having to stride a Vanguard that, like Kagi Jishi or whatever, to do the attack from the back row skill. So that's really good. Yeah, definitely recommend 4 of him if you're serious about building a Yasuie deck. The next spots for the grade 2s are really like up to what you guys want to try. I'm actually trying out this new guy, Stealth Dragon, Fudo Blast. He's kind of one of those interesting grade 2s. Kind of like Streakin in Kagero, where it's almost like he has restraint. He sort of has restraint without them actually using that keyword. Basically, he can't attack a Vanguard if you don't have, if you do not have another one of him like on the field, and that effect is continuous and applies to both the Vanguard or the Rearguard. Nice thing about him is he's got 11k, so he can easily like block, rush, and also when you ride him, you almost always will be able to attack to get your drive check, because you, as long as you have it 1 damage to counterblast and then discard 1 card from your hand, you clone him, so that ensures that you'll be able to attack as the Vanguard, and then the Rearguard one can also attack. So not too bad. I'm gonna try him out for now. He's very good when you clone him, like with the old Yasuie. Like if you get like 3 of him on the field, you pick one and you clone like 2 of him, and they can attack from the back or whatever. Like if you go into Kage Jishimiji or whatever his name is. So he's really good in that regard. Really good defensive card also. It's really hard for the opponent to attack, get rid of him off the field. Like even a 10k can't get him off of the field, and then he can just intercept if you need to. So next I'm trying a card from the technical booster. So I'm trying Stealth Fiend, Awako Hime. In playtesting her, a lot of my opponents were actually shocked that Murakumo, they didn't even know that Murakumo had a Silent Tom card, or a card that gives the Vanguard Silent Tom, because that's essentially what her Shadow Stitch effect does. It is GB1 restricted, but it is pretty good. It is 8k, so it's the only downside of it. But I don't know, I'm being really experimental with the different Rearguard lineup with this Yasuie build. Let me know what you guys recommend for the Grade 2 lineup. For Grade 1s, I'm running the only other Sentinel Murakumo that I have. I don't actually have the other one that has Shadow Stitch, if they even have one. I assume they do from the technical booster, but I don't have it. So 4 White Heron, she's the unflipped Perfect Guard. 4 Rogue Ataka, 4 of him, because you need to clone as much as you can, so you need to run things in 4s of. And then 2 Charcoal Fox. 4 Charcoal Fox. He's really good still. You could try a newer Shadow Stitch card, but again, like the cards I have from Murakumo are limited. I don't have that many available, so I'm just sticking to him. He's still relatively good at attacking from the back and stuff. And then 2 of the new card that they finally got after all these years, Murakumo finally got a Soul Blast 2 draw card. So I'm just playing it in here to see if it really helps them any. So just another spot where they can't really clone it. I guess they could, but yeah. And the trigger lineup is 4 of the really good stand. Hidden Scroll, he's really good for the restand play and just in general. And then 4 of the Naruto critical, the Margot clone, and then 4 more critical. So 4 stand, 8 critical, 4 heal. And I am running Fugen, Stealth Demon of Crow Feathers. Fugen is the best starter in my playtesting. He's got Shadow Stitch. He can bounce around with his Shadow Stitch play. He can also, you can rest him to recycle stuff from the drop zone that gets retired. It must be normal unit, but that's why, like, you want a normal unit because you need to like reuse a lot of your stuff. So he's relatively good. He's better than the other thing, the thing that bounces and looks at 3, I think, because that thing was only really good with the old Yasuie. It's not really that good with the new one. And they have Oni Bibu later, which completely nullifies having to use that old starter. So I think this is still the best starter they have right now from the technical booster. So I definitely recommend him. For the Stride lineup, it's basically not that hard to build this Stride deck, as far as I know, unless you have a hard time finding these cards. But 4 of the new Rogue Deity of the 3rd Realm, Yasuie Goma. Definitely need 4 of him. He's a must-do. He's actually quite good first Stride. 2 Homura Raider. The reason why I don't run 4 of him, although I have found situations where I could potentially use him a second time, which could be nice. He's kind of like the Ace or Victor Plasma. He's the restander for them, so they do have a restander that loses Twin Drive for both swings. But he's not that hard to pull off, surprisingly, now, with a lot of the like recovery mechanics that they have, especially with stuff like this. But, you know, it is what it is. I only have 2 of him. I didn't bother getting 2 more. So, I have the restand play. I have the Yasuie plays. 2 Oni Bibu in the event where you have nothing to clone. He's really good in those matchups where your field keeps getting disrupted. And he also makes the unit that you superior call from a hand get 2,000, and it can attack from the back row. So that's actually quite good in matchups where, let's say, like Link Joker or someone is like locking the front row. You can call onto an open R, or even just to an R in the back row and attack from the back. So poke at them that way. 2, Kagami Jishi. He is good at allowing stuff to attack from the back row again. 1, Shirayuki, although I almost never use her now that I have the Yasui stuff. Especially with the new Yasui, she's not really all that needed. Usually the only time I ever use this card is if I'm using the old Yasui. But even then, it's very situational, very rare that I'll ever go into this. And then 1 Seabreeze, because it's a GB2 deck. And then, yeah, 2 Hogan Wing. I don't have the new one. I really need the new one from the technical booster. But I'll most likely add the other new one, the one that comes with the GB8 when it comes out. And then Scryu, because I lack other alternatives, and Desmo for the same exact reason. So anyway, guys, that was the updated Murakumo. Let me know what you guys think of Yasui, how it stacks up to other rogue decks, Murakumo decks, other clans even. You guys let me know what changes you recommend and why, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.